All right. So welcome everyone. Okay. So today we have the design free talk about the immersive retail and public space, about the virtual reality and fabrications, and it's great that we have invited Tannen, who is very talented in this topic. So to join us as a speaker. And before he starts, I actually want to have a little introduction about Urban Room and about myself. All right. So we are here. We are at the Monster Building. Let's to be frank with you, all the labor they don't like this name because they said they are not monster. Yeah, and anyway, because we are here to care about the laborers, but also we are here to want to attract more people to come to here to know more about what is this community engagement and collaborations. So we are using this as something that attracting other peoples to come. Monster Building, this name actually is very famous amongst all the foreigners, all the tourists, and a lot of tourists come here to take photos for their social medias. This is a very special location in Hong Kong, and even though it's really super high densities residential here, however, this is not the people who live here are not really at the very low poverty levels. They are actually, I think I would say at least half of them are quite okay. Yeah. Of course, because we are settled in Quarry Bay, Quarry Bay itself, this district is not a really poor district. However, the ratio of elderly has been raising up. This is the second higher elderly populations in Hong Kong, district in Hong Kong. So next. So we call it as urban room because we believe in this kind of very dense neighborhood. We actually need to have such a relaxed space for people. And for them to realize that there's still a bigger world outside. So this is the very main purpose of why we call this name as urban room, or Chinese name Sing Ze. So at Monster Building by Anchor, and I will explain about Anchor later on. Okay, next. So we are here to have three objectives. One is to continue or expanding and getting people know about creative industry. The second is doing community integration here. The third is bringing awareness of sustainability, eco-living in this district. Next. So we started from this year's February, and we have been doing a lot here. A lot of people we met here, our labor or people or tourists, or people come to Quarry Bay just to visit. We have been doing, these are the things that we have done before. For example, we participate into local tours. We do introduction of this area. We visit the local women's workshop. And we liaise with the labor, the elderly, the young old, I would say. So those older peoples has a high capability to help. So they start to do storytelling in here. And also we help the local farmers and sell their local farm product here. We have a lot of design exhibitions, drawing workshop here. So next one. So the three elements here is doing a sharing space and rental space. So if you're interested, looking for a space to work or to do your parties or talk, welcome to talk to me. It can be a fully rental, independent rental, or it can be a collaboration with this shop. The second is dialogue, workshop, and community projects, which you're in one of them. The third is selling some lifestyles or design elements, design product here, which is you see the shelf here. Okay, next one. These are some past and current events. Next. And we are actually starting to apply for some funding to do more than what we can, because financially we are still struggling. So applying for funding would be another way to ease out and for us to do more. So we are planning to do some product design and also urban renewal project in Quarry Bay. Next one. So at the beginning we said I said I will explain more about Anchor. So I have two companies. One is Urban Room, which you are in. We do mainly community and social design. And you study in PolyU, so you should know really well about social design, right?
No, it's not my department.
Yeah?
It's not my department.
It's not your department, but you have your adjacent team doing it, right? And Anchor is more for commercial and pacemaking. So they both are design oriented, but they serve different things. And where is Anchor? Anchor is actually upstairs. We have a mezzanine upstairs. Next one. So Anchor, we do a lot of public spaces, retail, and sharing spaces. Next one. And we actually, before we start Anchor, we actually work for a large architectural firm, and we work for big developers for projects all over the world. This one. And Anchor itself, we do more public spaces, identity, such things. You like this? When we start to talk about fabrication for our topics, we actually want to introduce this project that's done 5 years ago. We actually started this project in 2014, and we spent 6 years to finish it. This fabrication is very interesting. It's a renovation project, and within the existing column grid or structure, I would say, we actually create a 5-story high, which means like 25 over 30 meters high space within the column grid, which is 8 by 8 column grid, to have this funnel type of display, product displays elements with a bridge actually going across. This is a project that's done by Andrew mainly and myself. So next one. So at the same project, we actually creating this atmosphere, which is very big, like a toy toy factory. And I wonder if you noticed, this is one of the very famous shopping mall, train mall actually. It's a brand, and they have a lot of different locations, malls. Do you recognize what that brand is? It's a Hong Kong developer, K11, yeah. You know?
K11.
Yeah? Okay. So K11 itself, they try to make each of them more very interesting, very fun, different type of style. And this and this one is so K11 is very want to do something very different in each mall, and this one is based on a kidult toy factory concept. Next one. And so in each small areas, it has different kind of style and theme. Next. And then the other project is also renovations in China, and I think I mainly want to introduce this kind of facade and lighting to you guys because we talk about fabrications. So we always think we want to have something very different in each part and each space for architecture, but it's actually having a full fabrications with the same color tone would be quite interesting. Next one. So this is the detail of the facade. So we're using very simple perforated metal to create this kind of half cone, half cylinders object with different gradation of orange colors. And at the end, we light up each panel to create this kind of wavy atmosphere. Next one. And this is the other project this is a rendering. And the next page is the real work. Of course, this photo is taken by me, so I'm not a professional photographer. But actually, we are actually trying to create this kind of two layers of fabrics woven into each other as architecture. So even though it is an interior space, but it's actually a very, very strong architectural expressions within it. Next one. And I think this is in an island. It's a man-made island. Next one. When we talk about the very tiny retail space, we are actually creating this kind of tall environment, having this wavy object on the ceiling. Because for retail, we actually have most of the elevations or the front face to be the shops itself, right? So using the ceiling and other elements to create this atmosphere is very important. Next one. Yeah, so this is the under construction site. Next. So I think this is the last one, I believe. So this one is not retail, but the fabrication is very interesting and it's designed by Andrew. So this one we actually use all the cone, concave cone, to create this kind of different layers of metals. Next one. And having this repeated pattern, we actually provide a very, very strong contrast from outside to inside, white color to very reflective materials. Next year. Next. So that's it. And the last one. Next one. We recently starting to do one of the major shopping mall in Causeway Bay, which is Hazen Place, and we actually designed this hoarding to be ready to go, and because this hoarding is very interesting. Hoarding is nothing special, right? But this is at the heart of this mall, so they are paying strong attention to it. What we're trying to achieve is, as a retail, we actually want to, especially this mall is for young people, we actually want to bring a more active, more interesting environment to the people that enter to this mall, to feel that they got younger, they can get younger when they are shopping in this mall. And so we create this very active people jumping around and then having this kind of slogans all along the places. And then that's it. I think Thailand will give you more thorough explanation about his fabrications work and also virtual reality.
By training, I'm an architect. I like to take a more interdisciplinary approach, interior, industrial, different trade cross-inform each other. I think Carrie today, she wants to talk about retail, immersive retail in the context of fabrication and virtual reality. From my end, from the architectural and kind of interdisciplinary background, especially when now that we know the economy is not so good, we would like to think how the retail scene can be reshaped. What are some of the new ideas? So I think looking into other disciplines or borrowing ideas from each other can help. Windows started in the 90s, but 3D Max started before Windows, started with dots. So the story of making this kind of geeky digital design started at around that time. Over the about 30 years, things change, it evolved. I also try to show changing evolution in about 10-15 projects that I worked on before. As a quick overview, I try to keep this talk under 35 minutes. So let's go. Year 2000, fresh grad from, I go to Columbia, and then right after that, I work for Stephen Ho. I build models. So the first thing you need to do, or you should learn, is to appreciate making things by hand. Stephen will come and just show us the watercolor, and a simple watercolor will take us days to resolve the kind of form, the kind of materiality, the kind of space it is making. This here, this is a museum of Nelson Atkins. This model is about 3 meters long, 1:50 model, and then it's not a presentation model. It's building out a very kind of sketch model material, but it's big enough so that we can see light, and then we can see the interior space. Having an appreciation for physical things is, I think, that is the beginning of a sense of fabrication. 10 years on, this is 2009. I was working for Gary Technology. Frank Gary built very complicated things with fabrication tools for building airplanes. So he used his know-how to start helping other people, in this case Zaha Hadid, to build his design. In this project, designed by Zaha Hadid, but Gary Technology was the consultant. At that time, BIM was a new thing. It was a 4 years, about 4 or 5 years project. I was there for 1 year. I was in Seoul for 1 year, and then the first 100 days they need to complete a huge chunk of the building, like the concrete part of the building. So what we did, the first thing is to help build a mock-up. The drawings in this project are useless on site. What we have to do is give the information needed by the guys on site for the formwork. For this small building, using the model cut section every 300 millimeter, and then this is exactly what the formwork maker need on site. So basically, we are there to support the information needed on the construction site. And so this, to me, is a good use of the BIM. But of course, the contractor are very competent. They were a very good team. They were doing the Incheon airport, and they came to the DDP site right after they finished the airport. But still, it's not an easy building. They do pretty good, but they originally the design was supposed to be fair-face concrete. At the end, it has to be coated because there's so many patchwork and touch-ups. But in general, they're really good. Okay, beside the Sahara, this kind of a funky project, when I was at Gary Technology, I did 2 projects. Another one is in Beijing, the Sanlituan. It was a very different project. Suddenly, BIM, building information modeling, is a thing. But this project, when we started the project, construction already began. So we kind of have to throw away our schedule and reschedule what we do. based on what is happening on site, try to catch up with a certain point next month or the month after, so that what we do is useful to what is needed at that point. So these are just very typical BIM stuff now, like CSD, clash coordination, and resolving structural details. Okay, so this one is a 2,000 square feet project. Is in Causeway Bay and is now demolished. And then at that time we were using AutoCAD to digital design these things. So design is about triangulation. We're making triangles, right? We started with making thousands of triangles, and the contractor hates us. So slowly we simplify, and at the end, the final design it has about 60 something hour point, and then we build a model based on this point, and then the contractor build on site, following using the model. So no drawing, little drawing. Okay, and another project of similar scale, and then I mean this may be 5 years later, is a project in Toronto, also along the line of digital fabrication, and then we were working with very good mill worker. They make wood cabinets. So these are basically very big wood cabinets, and then we were using CNC. Nowadays is nothing. Every project is using CNC to customize the shape and stuff. But this is about 10 years ago, and so it's an interesting process. It's a good process. Okay, and then another 5 years. This is maybe 2018. This is just a small canopy, steel canopy, and it was built by China Well. China Well is one of the biggest builder in China. They build railways. This is a small project for them. For coordination, I gave them my model at some point. The next thing you know is they start building it without any drawings and without any structural calculations. In the model, I did use some of the FEAs. FEA should be very common tool now, but it's helpful as a quick test to see what are the structural issues under certain conditions, where do you need reinforce, and I wouldn't say bypass the structural engineer and do your own FEA, don't do that. But I guess this thing is relatively, it's a tabletop with lots of legs, so should be quite safe. But still, I think it's an interesting process. Going straight from model, no drawings, no coordination, get it built. Okay, so we did some big project, and then we did a few small projects with specific issues in fabrication that we experience. But there are also other kind of projects. Usually when you do project, you would think, be as clear as possible, try to foresee all the problems that will come, and then let the problem happen in the 3D model, not let it happen on site. But for some project, this is not the case. For some project, you actually demolish first, and then document the site with your 3D model or whatever you're using, or hand sketch, or just hand sketch, and then start design. So it's a lot of fun doing this kind of project, but I'm afraid not every project can afford the time and the uncertainty to go for this kind of approach. But this kind of project is tons of fun to work with. This project is a factory project in Beijing. I would make 2 weeks trips at a time, every few weeks, and then you have to kind of not improvise, but kind of design as you go. So the site issue, the demolition is one reason for the floating design. But at the same time, the client is a first-time developer. He just bought the factory. He's not too sure what to do with it. So that is also a lot of fun. So he also did his kind of financing calculation, see who is the better tenant, and then what is the best way to use the space, that at the end what happens will make sense but also profitable. By the way, this is a community center. Surrounding the factory, there are many international schools, and then this place is where the kids come to. When you're doing this kind of not following the standard project protocol, but more like an ad hoc, spontaneous situation, the team needs to work together. Sometimes you need to be more open and willing and work with the team. Drawings, the models, rendering, the Photoshops, as you develop the design along different stages of the project, becomes a record of the process as a kind of as-built documentation. And then because spontaneous nature, not knowing exactly the final product, I think it's important, if you're going for this kind of approach, to be aware of the original design intent for your design kind of concept, as well as what the client needs. So you need to make an ongoing balance. Try to keep that in mind. These pictures are maybe 95% complete project, but this is the stage I like the project most, because after that they added more, not a better design at the end. So making decisions in design and and stopping the project is kind of important. So we have looked at a few things. We try to appreciate the physical things, and then try to work with the guys on site with the model to provide them with the right information. Try to use the tools to take a different approach, engineering approach at least, and then sometimes you need to be spontaneous and work with changes. So how do all this impact the retail? How do we retail space or more commercial space? Again, I think back to the issue of interdisciplinary approach. So I think it's important to not always follow the strict path, and then look at some of this other stuff, and find a way to insert them into your project. And if you do that, then the project, because you took a kind of different approach, the project will be, I wouldn't say for sure better, but it will be different. It will be reshaping. So I guess that's an answer. Okay, we're supposed to talk only about fabrication and VR. I try to add a little bit more because it's a very important part of our development. Okay, we want to talk about digital design and the environmental design. It is also a mainstream thing. If we talk about VR and talk about fabrication without talking about environmental issues, it seems that we are not seeing a big picture. Just a few quick things. In 2010, we started a firm in Canada, and then one of the projects which got shortlisted is a port terminal in Kaohsiung. So we were shortlisted, and out of maybe 150 submissions. This is one of our first projects with the Canadian team. What is important here is this is about open air, and then this idea of open air becomes a kind of recurring thing in our design. If you look at even older building, if you look into history, it's normal to have open building, not enclosed building. So I think this is why they drew like this approach. And then this is like I said, it was a shortlisted project. So and it's a high-profile project. Because of that, suddenly during the stage 2, after we got shortlisted, we were able to get a lot of very good people, good consultant. We have fund for the curtain wall consultant. They did the CCTV building, and then we have Thornton Thomas Ali for the structural design. They specialize in long span and tall buildings, and both office in New York, and we were in Toronto at the time, so it's very convenient. The consultant that we really affected us is the environmental consultant. They were using I don't think these are new tools. CFD is not new, but we were trying to make it into a story, really push it into our design, really try to kind of see how moving air will affect the shape and form. Not just in this project, but also in the project after. So for a long time, we were making kind of streamlined shapes. We also work with Touriscape. Touriscape is a Chinese landscape planning office. The boss is Kanjian Yu, Dr. Yu. He is a Harvard graduate and then the chair at the Beijing U. So his work is about landscape urbanism. It's about he called it big feet aesthetics. So the aesthetics of the rural China, the farmers, and then and then not wearing shoes when you go into the farm, and then appreciating those kinds of raw, kind of simple aesthetics. And also he has this very big vision of what he called ecology civilization. Working with Dr. Yu also gives us a big influence on the work. Most of the project is located not in the city, but 3 hours drive away from any airport. So that kind of not super rural, but kind of small town, village, that kind of place. Sometimes are super scenic, and you get to see a lot of different landscape. Yeah, this is one of the typical projects. So we're working with culture, working with ecology. In this case, also working with tourism and retail. We're trying to propose it's almost like a retail street, but also meander a little bit, and then sandwich between a kind of cultural strip and then a long bar. I think there's a hotel or some sort of resort. This kind of integration of doing retail, doing tourism in this kind of context is, in a sense, you can call it landscape urbanism. In this case, a library in a very landscape surrounding, and inside basically a tent or greenhouse. This is a shopping in the context of a wetland. That's the idea of what Dr. Yu would say, kind of ecology civilization. And then of course, Dr. Yu here do a lot of big landscape park design, and then we, with the architectural background, we will do a lot of pavilions, smaller buildings, visitor centers inside the park. And then we must have done 10-15 of this kind of design, and then 1 or 2 get built. And then this, of course, is not by Touriscape, but this is a collaboration project with Vincent Pan, also a guy from New York, cool guy. We managed to get those some ideas, landscape ideas, environmental ideas into the projects. The ideas of open airs. The project was built about 5-6 years ago, and this pictures from last year, and it's interesting to see how the West Kowloon park, the park component of West Kowloon grow and develop and envelope the building. Okay, with the M Pavilion, they kind of conclude the environmental chapter of the discussion. And in the last few years, we, because of COVID in a sense, and VR was a thing, and did a few proposals, and then we did one or two projects. Although I think the hype is a little bit gone, but we're still working on it. We still think it has a lot of good potentials. And no, we haven't worked on AI yet. So we want to focus by and sharing the how it doesn't work. Virtual VCAT is a VR festival in Japan. In the past 5-6 years, they will push a new set of VR space or VR happenings every summers, and then they were funded by big brands in Japan. I was working with a Hong Kong guy in Japan. She's a musician, so she kind of know all this kind of what is happening in Tokyo. So we would go, but then when we go into the VR site, they were dead. They were poorly made. They were like a bad video games from the 1980s. So we figure maybe that's because it was too much money. It happens too fast, and once the event, the hype is over, people will just abandon the site, and then we literally go into like this dead ghost city of zero people and poorly designed, not very good looking experience in space. Okay, another problem is our fault, because we were trying to be very ambitious, but we want to build this really cool, really complicated things. At the end, the ideas becomes convoluted, and then we were lost, and in a sense that we don't know why people want to go there, how people can enjoy it. So in that sense, is I think the problem is we're not able to keep it simple and focus. And then of course there are technical issues. Again, not focused. This startup, believe it or not, is a for online concert in Shibuya, a virtual Shibuya, of course. And then the concert stage, the virtual concert stage is quite nice. I think they managed to do a few things there, but it grew into this monster of thing. So let's not talk about this. Let's move on. We start by focusing on the experience itself. We want to keep it simple, keep it immersive, and most importantly, and it's going to merge with the technology, is keeping it at high fidelity, making it look really, really good. It takes some time, and you need to be aware of what the limit of what we can do with the tools. But make it look good and simple is important. And give it a good story, a story that is simple to understand. So we start focus on the visual, the moment, and in this case, a simulation of the 4-season change. And then we're using zoom lens and different depth of views and different time of the day. So this is a project of a virtual forest for a Singapore team. This is made for kids, very young, small kids like 5 to 10 years old, and then a virtual forest for them for a virtual field trip. So we put different animals inside, and then define a secret walk, that they will be guided by their teachers, go in and explore. I didn't go to Singapore to see it, but it did happen. It did work a few times. They're still doing it. They're charging people money for it, but it was a good exercise. It looked good. The kids were happy, and we were looking at what we do next for this kind of project. A story-specific experience that people would want to go into. We start to get a hang of how to do a nice experience. We take care of the VR space. We want to do the physical space. We want to do the build, the setup, to put the experience in a proper real-world environment. These are the standard kind of implementations. The arcade-like setup in a retail context, or sometimes more in a kind of warehouse museum context. Of course, they will start venturing into AR and different projection mapping ideas. But we want to be a little bit more specific. We want custom design space for custom experience, virtual experience. What if we put it outdoor? It was a big problem because this thing generates heat, and Singapore is really hot. so we kind of we're still working on it. So this is almost like a pavilion in the landscape. In this case, next to a church and this kindergarten. Just some work in progress. And then today we're here to at Kerry's nice place at the Urban Room. Urban Room, if you don't know, if you're hearing the podcast, is located at the Monster Building, one of the most popular, suddenly becomes most popular 打卡地方 in not just in Hong Kong but all over. So as a demo. Okay, so we have identified that this is a can be interesting site, and that is in our collective list of where to go. It would be good to do a virtual version of it, and we have always seen this view of this kind of matrix of building in very cool colors. But the question is, what are the possibilities? Of course, this is just a initial idea, initial test. We want to know what are different ideas. What do you see on the ground? Is it going to be a forest? Is it going to be an open theater, or is it something totally different? We build on Unity and deploy it onto our cargo. So basically a game. An application, an APK. So I post it on online. If you guys are interested, it's built for the Quest 2, Quest 3, and Quest Pro. So let me know if you guys want. I'll post it. Maybe Kerry and I should talk about what's the best way to facilitate this kind of community to develop this project. Okay. Thank you. That's all.